We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live.
Welcome to the Mouthpiece, episode 84, year 3. Today we're going to talk about the poker cheating scandal that rocked the poker world the last week. We're going to talk about the NBA playoffs, the NHL playoffs, the upcoming NBA draft, my week in poker, my Texas adventure. The Mouthpiece is next. What up? What up? Welcome to the Mouthpiece, episode 84. Unless you're living under a rock, the poker world was rocked with some serious allegations this week, implicating Poker Go Player of the Year, implicating the all-time money winner in poker, and implicating many others. Does this come as a surprise to me? No. Anybody who listens to my podcast will know that when Scott Ball was outed as cheating in our game 15 months ago, the guy who outed him named 3 or 4 of the top, all the pros that were implicated this week in the cheating scandal. I told everybody 15 months ago about it. I even told Daniel about it, and it was crickets for 15 months. I don't want to sound like I told you so, because I'm not here to do that. I want accountability. So how do we get accountability? I was told about Bryn Kinney. I was told about Ali Ismarik. I was told about Sam Soverall. I was told about Jake Schindler 15 months ago. And here's the problem where I'm dealing. Now, I was going to have somebody come on the podcast today. I just asked him, and he says he doesn't want to come on, and to appreciate his privacy. And so he was the one that gave me all the info 15 months ago, and now because he is not doing well financially and people are staking him, and he decided that he doesn't want to come on and put his name under the bus. But I will tell you the things that he said to me, and the things that I already knew anyways. And it kind of sucks that he's not coming on, but, you know, it is a touchy situation where people who come on and they out people, I mean, they'll look great in the poker world, but they also worry about their bottom line and what it's going to cost them. And I respect their opinion, but pretty much, you know, what was said to me. So, you know, we're going to go back to a tweet that was put out in 2020. Okay? And it said, it was a reply to Lauren Roberts, and it said, "How is it fun for everyone if Play Poker fires those 25Ks when Bryn is giving 80% of the field a free roll and she has basically no chance to win? They are very okay with winning players as long as they get the main share." Lauren then responded, "Not sure who you are, but I don't fire 25Ks on GG. She hardly plays on there at all. Might argue with your chance of her winning, but agree the best of the best play those tournaments, and I am not one of them. As from what I was told, and from what I heard in the podcast, Doug's podcast the other day, that she was playing the 25Ks, and that, we heard that Bryn was multi-accounting and using her account. I find these to be pretty reliable. I don't want to speculate on things because I really don't know what's going on in the online world. I'm going to go back from what I know. In 2007, 2008, a group of top players were playing in a game at Full Tilt Poker, 2-400 PLO, and they were equity chopping Guy Liberté, who lost $60 million. At the time I found out, Justin Smith, who used to be a good friend of mine and is no longer my friend because he decided he was too good for everybody and he was going to treat people who cared about him like shit. He told me about this because we were best friends on his 21st birthday. And he didn't want me to tell anybody. But I found out they were all equity chopping. And for all you guys that don't know what equity chopping is let's just say Guy Liberté pots it on the 5, 6, 7, 2 diamond board. He's got 8, 9, 10. Another guy's got top 2. Another guy's got the nut flush draw, right? And then they get it all in for like 40,000, 50,000, whatever it is, where they wouldn't call if they were using their own money. If they won the pot, they would have certain equity. And the people who lost the pot, whatever their equity is, they would get back after the money they put in. And basically, Guy had no chance because that's why the games looked so good. It was like all in, call, and there was 4-way action every hand. And then they tried to say, well, that wasn't cheating because they play straight forward. And at the end of the hand, they show their equity. And then they had what was called an automatic transfer at Full Tilt, in which you could transfer. So the guy puts 30,000 in, his equity was 20%, and they give him back 20% of the 30,000. But when it's all said and done, when you're equity chopping, the guy can't win. I mean, Guy Liberté couldn't have won if they played straight up, but unfortunately, they did everything to give themselves a better edge. I'm not going to bring up who those names were, but all you have to do is Google 2-400 at Full Tilt Poker with Guy Liberté, and you'll know exactly who those players were. So when you see a 6-handed PLO game with Guy in it, there's plenty of them that you can archive that are on the computer, and whoever you see all the time playing with Guy, they were all the people equity chopping, and quite a few big names in there. So at the time, that was pretty big, high stakes, what I felt cheating scandal. I talked to Barry Greenstein about it. He said it's 100% cheating. Because I was with Full Tilt at the time, it wasn't my. I mean, I said a lot of things in public, but not in the public forum. And maybe I should have said more things about it. I just felt it was wrong. So that was again. I hear Doug Polk say, "Well, I don't advise anybody to play high stakes poker right now in 2022. Well, I've been saying this for 14 years. I mean, when they sit there and murder people at a 7-Eleven for $40, what do you think they're going to do when they have an open invitation to steal millions? We had Russ Hamilton steal $22 million and with the Ultimate Bet scandal. And I was pretty oblivious to really what was going on until really 2010. This is when I went all out. Everybody's cheating online. You're crazy to play high stakes poker online. Now, nobody's cheating in the mid stakes games, but we're talking about like big. And I got a lot of shit from a lot of top players. You're trying to hurt online poker by saying everybody's cheating, blah blah blah. But I have had 2 losing months in 26 years playing poker. One probably between $15 to $20 million. Yet I played online and I lost $4 million. Okay? Now, can I prove I was being cheated? No. I have a good feel for when I was cheated. Most of the times it was me staying up, playing too many games for 24, 36 hours, getting tired and playing bad. You know, I take responsibility for that. But there is times I was cheated. You know, I got cheated out of $1 million with the Russ Hamilton thing, with Ultimate Bet. And there's there's a few other, iffy situations. But in 2010, Full Tilt sent me to Brazil, in São Paulo, for a big tournament. This is when Brazil was just starting to tap into poker. Me, Gus, Mike Mizrachi went down there. And it was our job to be the face of Full Tilt. I brought Mike with me. It was basically me and Gus going down there. And the night before the main tournament started in Brazil, we took an hour and 20-minute drive to this mansion on the ocean. It was beautiful. We had a big pre-tournament party, lots of girls, lots of guys. It was fun. It was really good. But as they were showing me around this place, I was taken to a room upstairs that was probably as big as the Aria poker room, maybe bigger. And in this room, there was approximately 6 rows of computers, about 300 computers and laptop and monitors. And I said, well, what is this for, right? He's like, oh, we teach people how to play online poker tournaments here. No, I'm not a fucking idiot. As soon as I went up there, I said, these guys are all playing tournaments on different IPs. They're putting 300 people in. They're trying to get people who know what they're doing. They're trying to get a stack. The buy-in, 300 people times 200 is what? 6,000? Yeah, 6,000. And you get a bunch of people to make stacks. You dump them off to the people. First place in these tournaments were $250,000 in these Sunday Millions at Poker Stars, Sunday Millions at Full Tilt. Now I don't know how they did, but it was pretty obvious that this was I don't know if you want to call it bot farm. That's probably not the word for it, but these guys were all in cahoots to basically cheat online. Of course, I went somewhat public with it. Where there wasn't, people didn't jump on Twitter at the time and talk about things. Back then, it was right when kind of Twitter was first started to take off. First was like, I think 2007. It didn't really get big till around 2010. But even then, if you guys remember right, they used to, Twitter was just a place to, people would reach out to you, and they wanted to just talk to you. You talked about how you were doing in poker, where now it's become a cesspool for negativity and, political discourse, and it's a pretty awful place now. So, but I was very vocal about this to the people who ran Full Tilt, and to me, this is a very very bad spot for poker because I know if these people were doing it, how many other people are doing it. So just wanted to bring that up because I wanted people to understand what I feel are two, beside the ultimate bet scandal, two of the bigger cheating scandals that I know of. Again, people will question the equity chopping, but most of the top people I talk to feel it was cheating. And again, I don't need to bring those names up. Just Google Guy Liberté 2400 PLO full tilt, and you'll see the 5 people who are playing with them every day, and you guys can make your own conclusions on that. So now let's go forward to what's going on here. So 3 years ago, Daniel got involved with GG Poker and was telling me how great the games are, and all the top players made 5 to 10 million last month. Brent Kinney made 10 million. Jason Kuhn made 10 million. Jake Schindler made 12 million. Ollie, whatever. He threw all these numbers out at me. And the first thing I said to him was, Daniel, you don't make 10 million in a month playing online poker unless something, And of course, Daniel's like, there's nothing to worry about. Don't accuse my friends of cheating. And so I'm like, okay, Daniel, I don't know what's going on. I'm just saying that you don't show up and just make 10 million every month playing poker, because the best players in the world, let's just say the Bren Kinneys of the world, the Ollie Ismerks, the Alex Foxons, the Donnie Peters, the Jason Kuhns, are all better than me. Okay, they're this much better than me. Let's just say their no limit game's at 10, mine's an 8. It would take 10 years to show the difference in talent. When you see, and I'm not talking about just 1 year, okay? Because people go on 1 year runs. But when you see multiple people going on runs that are so much out of the realm, something's not right. And so I knew right away when Daniel told me all this money these people were making that something was wrong, And I voiced my opinion. Now we fast forward to 15 months ago. 15 months ago, a guy who called me to say, listen, I'm a cheat. This man literally says, I'm a cheat, but I want these people to go down. He said, this is what Scott Ball did, blah, 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 which I talked about on my podcast twice. And then he brought up certain names. He brought up Brent Kinney. He brought up Elias Marek. He brought up Sam Soverall. He brought up Jake Schindler and told me there's much money, many more. And they are all using RTA, and a lot of them are also multi-accounting, where they're all playing in the same games, in these nosebleed games at GG Poker. I believed him, because when you come out and you say, I'm a cheat, I am a piece of shit, but I want this guy to go down because he fucked me out of all this money, which is what he did with Scott Ball. And he basically brings up all these other guys and told me it goes way, way deeper, Mike. You know what I'm saying? I believed him. And so I texted Daniel. remember, me and Daniel are pretty good friends. Me and Daniel talk. We text a couple times a week. I mean, we're not as close as we used to be. We have a lot of philosophical differences, but we're friendly. We're not the best friends we used to be, but me and Daniel, I consider Daniel one of my top 10 best friends. I mean, we get along fine. And I had texted him 15 months ago. I said, "Do you know about what RTA is?" And he said, "Yes." And I said, "Well, I have a very, very, very solid lead that these guys are multi-accounting and using RTA." And he said, "Well, we just started cracking down on all of this and it's being taken care of." Now, I didn't say anything at the time because I felt that it's being taken care of. That's fine. But in my mind, I was thinking to myself, why did you wait a year and a half? Because 3 years when I told him, when I felt something was wrong, when he told me all the money everyone was making, to then address the RTA situation. In my mind, I wish he would have done that. They would have done that earlier. But, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. They did it. So when I brought this up within a month after or before, when he said they just started doing it, all these guys were kicked off of GG Poker. Bren Kenny, who had a big GG Poker deal. I don't know if he was making $2 million a week, like the one guy on Doug's podcast said. It's possible, I believe everything that Martin said about the whole entire, when there's an overlay, get people in the dump, because he was getting so much of the rake. And I mean, it makes sense. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think he was lying. Now, that guy was fucking baked as fuck. And he was all over the place. So anybody who reads people for a living has to question a little bit of that guy Martin's credibility. Now, again, I do believe that what he was saying about Bren Kinney and stuff, most of it was true. But a lot of the bullshit with the shaman and you got to eat right or you can't be, and then the 40K. And I mean, like, how many people had access to that box? Oh, why wasn't the 40K in the box? Oh, I put the 40K in the box. Oh, if I didn't, we all had 300K bankrolls at one time to be, I don't know. It just sounded all like bullshit to me, most of it. But like I said, I was informed 15 months ago about all these people that were cheating on GG. Now, 60 accounts were dissolved 15 months ago, and their money was seized. And the rest is history. But here's my problem. And I know Daniel is probably going to go berserk on me for this. And I hope he understands that I am not trying to hurt him in any way when I say this. But there needs accountability. I asked him, why, when you knew about this 15 months ago, did you not go public? And he says, well, because of his position in the company, he's not allowed to comment on people's accounts. Okay, that's fair. I get it. He gets paid a lot of money by them. He is an owner with GG. I get it, Okay, I get he doesn't want to go public with all these accounts and people. But when you have the top overall money winner, the Poker Go Player of the Year, two other of the they're all in top 10 money with proof of cheating. Why didn't he go forward with these people a year ago? And maybe it would have saved people a lot of money. I saw Kristen McNell and Alex Fox say, well, they lost $1.5 million in those cash games. How much were they cheated out of? See what I'm trying to say? So there has to be some kind of accountability. And again, I'm not saying that Daniel did anything wrong, because I'm not. But when you have a substantial financial interest in a company, which Daniel does, and something like this happens, I just feel it's his obligation to have outed these people. Kind of like when the big scandal went down with Ultimate Bet. People were blaming Phil. Phil addressed it. Phil cleared his name. I knew Phil had nothing to do with it, but he went public and addressed it. So far, Daniel hasn't addressed anything. I'm expecting him to very shortly. It sucks for poker. But, you hear, I heard Alex Foxton, I heard Jason Kuhn, I heard somebody else say, well, we all knew about them all being banned and kicked off of GG a year ago. Well, I'm going to say out to all these people that said that this week, why did they keep quiet about it? Why? They didn't know. They don't have ownership of GG. Why did all these Poker Go top pros who knew about all these guys cheating on GG not go public with it? Why were they allowed to be put in the higher echelon of poker? The best, the all-time money winner, the greatest ever, this guy, Ollie crushing the Poker Go tournaments, Jake Schindler crushing the poker, when they all knew they were kicked off of fucking GG. I'm just trying to say is for 6 years, since a year after my injury, I have fucking put my blood, sweat, and tears into getting myself back on my feet, repaying people, doing everything that's right, becoming a better person. Yet all these people were scamming everyone for millions of dollars and were being glorified as these great, great players. And I'm sure they are great players, and the people that do things right, people like me, people like Scotty, people like, I can name so many, go through, they struggle. Because everybody in poker goes through points where they struggle. And I just don't understand how there's no accountability for this. I'm not saying, Rob Young right now is putting together a pretty big group of people to find a way to blacklist cheaters. Now, going forward, yes, I believe cheaters, anybody caught cheating even once going forward, once that task force or whatever is put together, should be blackballed and kicked out for life because they know what the consequences are. Now, people who have cheated in the past, all these things that have come up in the last week, I think you could give them a 2-year ban for their roles. And if they get caught again, it becomes a lifetime ban. That's my opinion. I don't feel that because there's nothing together right now that you just say you're banned for life. I do believe in second chances. I do believe in redemption. We've all made mistakes. And I believe that redemption is pretty important. And so that's my take on the whole situation. I reached out to Brig Kenny. I left him a message and said if he wants to come on the podcast, I'm kind of would treat him like Postel. I let him talk, let him tell his side of the story.
You gotta get high first.
Not ask, what's that?
You gotta get high.
I gotta get high first. Yeah, I did get high with Postel because he was so full of shit. It was a joke. All the shit coming out of his mouth, and then you guys make up your own decision. Because if he goes on like Doug Polk's podcast or any, they're gonna ask him all these tough questions. Whatever. I'm not there to ask him tough questions. I'm there for him to say whatever he feels happened. Tell his side of the story, and for you guys, the listeners, to listen to what he has to say, listen to his side of the story, and decide if you think he's telling the truth or he's not. That's basically the way the world works. See, right now, it's always innocent until proven guilty, right? Not guilty until proven innocent. Bryn Kenny doesn't have to come on and prove his innocence. He has to come on and tell his side of the story. What he believes happened, and then you guys have to decide, is the guy that was high as fuck and all over the map the other day telling the truth, who couldn't even put two sentences together, or is Bryn Kenny telling the truth? Okay? Now, we know about the guys that were kicked off of GG. There needs to still be accountability. It took Ali Ismarik looking at somebody's fucking hole cards, then using that to leverage a guy in the next hand for people to say, well, we always knew Ali was a cheat. He was kicked off of GG Poker a year ago. Well, we know all the people that were kicked off GG Poker. Daniel says he's not allowed to comment on people's accounts. Well, of those 60, okay, now he said there's a lot of them that could be innocent, that even though they were kicked off, there's no proof. But I guarantee you, of those 60, there's 20 that there's proof because they confiscated all their money. I mean, the minimum of 20, maybe 30, maybe 40. When is GG Poker going to put out the names of this group of people that were kicked off for multi-accounting and using RTA to the public? That's all I'm asking for. I'm asking for accountability. I don't want to hurt GG's Poker brand because I think they're doing a great job. I think they're doing well, cutting down on the cheaters. I think they have done everything well with their brand. So why is there not accountability? And I could say straight out, Daniel should be held accountable for this and out these people's names. But that's up to you guys. Daniel said, with his part of the business and what he's involved, he can't comment on other people's account. I respect his opinion for that. But the people in the higher ups must be able to tell Daniel, these are the people that were kicked off for cheating. These are the people they know for sure. And if they are top names in poker, they need to be outed. That's my take on the entire situation. If anybody has a different take, you guys can call me in and tell me what your take is on it, because we're about ready to take live phone calls. So if you want to call me, and weigh in on your thoughts on the situation, give me a call. Whoops.
The Mouthpiece.
If you'd like to take part in our phone call segment, you can give us a call at 702-329-0480. And if you're a snowflake or a pussy and you don't want to talk to me, you can email me at mouthpiecepodcast@gmail.com. Also, follow me at the Mouth Matiso on Twitter for times that our call-in segment will be live.
702-329-0480. Give me a call. Let me know your thoughts on the entire scandal. Your thoughts on the guy who was on Doug's podcast the other day. And we could talk. 702-329-0480. So I think I laid out a pretty good opinion of what I think has happened, and it's pretty sad because, man, like I said, it is what it is. Welcome to the Mouthpiece. This is Mike. What's going on? Yo. Hey, lower your volume, man.
Hello?
What's going on? How's it going? Who's this?
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Oh, hi. It's Daniel from Mexico.
Hey, buddy. How are you, man? Good.
I'm good. How's it going with you?
It's going good, man. Still going good down there? You're in Mazatlan, right?
So, yeah, I'm in Mazatlan.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay.
I would love to be able to travel, but I'm unvaccinated, and it makes it difficult. But if we could talk about that.
I thought they got rid of all those vaccine mandates everywhere.
Well, yeah, but the thing is, I can't as far as I know, I can't travel to the United States unless I'm vaxxed.
That's not true. You could travel in the United States. You don't need to be vaxxed.
When did they change that?
Okay. All you need to do is show, because when we were in Mexico, we had a person come to our house. They swabbed us. They said we don't have COVID. When you do, all you do is show you don't have COVID, and you can go right back to the United States. No vax, no nothing. But you do need to get a COVID test to get back on a plane in the United States, which is no big deal. Costs us like $40 a piece.
I've been following it through the government sites and whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not so much interested in trying to get to Las Vegas from Mexico
Yeah.
as I am with my respect to getting back to Canada. And
Getting back to Canada, Canada doesn't let anybody in without, because Canada's a bunch of communists. You got a bunch. They might as well be North Korea. They're not a free country anymore.
Yeah, my country is a disgrace.
They're a disgrace. They're a disgrace. What they did to those truckers are so disgraceful that I don't even know where to begin. I mean, Canada is a communist country now. It's not a free country. It's disgraceful.
Yeah, it's the global world leaders, Klaus Schwab, has penetrated the government of Canada.
I've told everybody I'm writing a book called Poker, Pain, and Politics, How All Three Made Me a Better Person. I'm also writing a book called Power, How the Governments of the World Conspired to Take Unlimited Power from the People in their quest to control the world. And that is another book I'm writing, because this is what they've done.
Good for you. Good for you. Do you just consider yourself to be a libertarian?
I would say I'm libertarian. A lot people will say I'm on the right far, but I'm not on the right far. I mean, I used to be 80% on the right when I knew nothing about politics, and I think I'm 5 to 8 degrees right of center. But hang on once. I'm just gonna hang this up. But yeah, I'm more libertarian. I'm very liberal on social issues, but I'm I don't want government in my life. I think the governments of the world are fucking evil as fuck. So, and I do believe in my heart that this was all done on purpose. Then they were going to put the vaccine out that they've been experimenting in since 2002. So it's 20 years of this vaccine. That's why when people say, oh, it's an unproven vaccine that was rushed through. No, it wasn't. They've had this vaccine since SARS in 2002 for 20 years. I believe, I've said it on my show many times. I'll stick through it to the day I die. I don't just believe it. I know it. My gut tells me everything. I believe that COVID was put on the world on purpose to get Trump out of office because he was a threat to all the corrupt billionaire people that run the world. And they knew he couldn't lose. So they went with door number 4, release COVID on the world. We have a vaccine that gets Trump out of office. The vaccine is then announced 2 weeks after the election. By June 1st, there's 1,000 cases in the country and COVID is gone. They then are able to use the vaccine passports and vaccine mandates to have a computer imprint of everybody in the world. And then they know where everybody is at all times. And then they control everybody's life. And that was going to be their new world order and their plan. And unfortunately, the new variants broke off. They were sure when the new variants broke off that this vaccine would cover it. That's why for like 6 to 8 months after the first COVID was gone and there were new variants, they were still pushing vaccine mandates, vaccine passports for a vaccine that didn't work. And the American people are not stupid. They bought into it, and their entire diabolical plan of having control over everybody in the whole world went to shit, and that's where we stand right now. Now, you could believe me or you don't have to believe it, but this is what happened.
Yeah. Well, the big dirty fact is that there's never been a successful, against the coronavirus, there's never been a vaccine in history that worked against any coronavirus. So they sold this whole vaccine thing on a lie.
Well, absolutely. It was all about getting you to vaccinate and then register that you're vaccinated or you can't go anywhere. They were going to use this to take complete power and control of everybody's lives in the world. And God bless that this didn't happen. And now, and the funny part, here's the thing, and there's so much to talk about. I don't really want to, touch too much on this today because we have a lot of callers. But here's the thing. We have a new variant that's spreading. All the mask mandates were taken off the planes, everything. No mask mandates everywhere. Well, I knew this. Jeff Madsen knew this. Christy McNeil, Alice Fox knew this. All the people, Matt Glantz knew this. All the people with common sense knew that wearing a piece of cloth face diaper over your face does nothing. Fauci in 2019 laughed about it. They took the video down off YouTube where he laughed about masks, says, oh, no, the only way to, masks are just a safety blanket. They do zero, and you need to exercise, vitamin D, and eat right to avoid getting a virus. They threw all 3 of those talking points out the window, and they went with mask, vaccinate, 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 when they knew it was bullshit.
Mike?
Yeah.
Mike, during the WSOP in the fall last year, right in the middle of the tournament, the American government allowed vax people into the tournament or to travel into the United States, right?
Yeah, at the very end.
Yeah, because it gave the main event a bit of a boost there because
Correct.
all of these people from Europe could come over.
Yeah.
Okay, so between then and now, when did they get it to the point where unvaxxed people could come in? You mean?
I mean, it's been for a while now. I mean, even in February when I was in Cabo, it was just all you had to do is show proof of take a COVID test before the day before you fly out, which by the way I thought was stupid. I'm like, so wait a minute, I'm taking this COVID test on Sunday afternoon and I'm flying out on Monday. I could just go to the bars, party all night. Why can't I get COVID then? It made no sense. Another bullshit thing made no sense, you know. So listen, nothing has changed. It's so funny. I see Cliff Josephy, really nice, good friend of mine, really like him a lot, but he's on the far left, okay? And I see him put out a post, oh, I'm on the plane, no mask, oh, things are wonderful. Cliff, when we were talking about no mask for the last year and a half, it was like, wear your mask or you're going to kill people. Because that was the narrative the left was pushing on the fucking corrupt media. Nothing has changed. See, even my people on the left that follow my show right now, they're going to sit there and think nothing has changed. Okay, so we're down to 500 people dying right now in the United States. Cases are just where they are. This new variant is even less deadly. The only reason we shut down things was to stop the hospitals from being overrun. 2 weeks to slow the spread so the hospitals don't get overrun. Well, you know what? No hospital's ever been overrun. No hospital's been ever close to being overrun. Yet they took away 2 years of lives from people. They took away 2 years of lives from these young kids, forcing 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds to wear masks on a plane, kicking them and their parents off the plane. This is the most disgusting thing that ever happened in the United States. I got other calls coming in. I got to talk about this cheating scandal a lot.
But what about forcing all the people to take vaccinations, which have undisclosed injuries?
It's an absolute disgrace. People under the age of 40 in good shape are way more likely to die from the vaccine than they are from COVID. What they've done to these kids, forcing all these college kids, you can't go to college this year unless you're vaccinated. Why? They have almost 0%. They're 10 to 1 more likely to die in a car accident on their way to college than they are from COVID, these young kids. It's a disgrace. It's something that will be in my book, Power, and it'll talk about what these scumbags of the world did to this fucking world. All right, my man, I got to go. I got to talk about this other things.
Shakespeare said there's something rotten in Denmark.
It's true. It sure is. Take care, my man.
Okay,
thanks. Be safe down there. Later. 702-329-0480. Let's talk about, we can talk about Pearson, Phil's head-up match, what you guys think of how he acted towards Phil, and how you think Phil acted towards him. My ADD sucks, Todd. That's just the way it is. I just have to live with it. You know what I mean? Welcome to the Mouthpiece. This is Mike. What's going on?
Hey, Mike, it's Charlie.
Charlie, how you doing, buddy?
Pretty good.
My Charlie from my home game, Charlie?
Yep.
What's up, buddy? How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. So I didn't like your take on this Martin guy being banned from every casino and some. I saw it on Twitter. So why do you think that if the whistleblower should be banned, do you think that might discourage other people from coming forward? That's a
good point. That's a very good point. Now, I'm not saying that he should be banned, okay? I am saying that he admitted to cheating, okay? And listen, if you're a whistleblower and you come out and you say, I know these guys were cheating, blah, 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 because I was part of it. I would like anonymity. I would like to be, like they do in court, like you get a deal, you speak about this person and we won't charge you, right? So I don't believe he should be banned. He comes out, he exposes people, that's good. But I again, just like with these other people, you can't give them a lifetime ban. I think you could give them a year or 2 years, and anybody coming forward who is caught cheating then gets a lifetime ban. Because once it's out there that there's a committee put together, and if you cheat, you are put in a black list. It's kind of like the Vegas, in your black book. You cheat in a casino, you get black kick, black book. You know what I'm saying? And the first time they'll kick you out, and the second time, you'll get on the black book. So, yeah, I mean, maybe I shouldn't have gone that far by saying that. I do agree that people who blow the whistle, there needs to be a little bit of, you can't just say kick him out for, you're right. I was a little bit emotional when I said that, and you are right about that, So it's just, the thing, like I said, that bothers me the most about the whole thing is not that this was exposed. It's the fact that I knew about it 15 months ago. I knew about it 3 years ago. And they let all these people win tens and tens of millions of dollars, and nobody gives a fuck, There needs to be some accountability. I feel like Daniel needs to address it in some way. Again, I'm not blaming Daniel. He told me that because of his part in the company, he can't go, talk about accounts. I believe in capitalism. But he needs to have the people who run GG expose these names of these 60 people that were kicked off a year ago. And there's 20 of them. Nobody knows, whatever. They don't need to be in the public. But whoever of those names are big names in poker, there needs to be accountability. That's all.
Yeah, and just to let them go on for that long, like Ali and Servich and Jake Schindler, like I kind of looked up to those guys and thought like they were good for poker. They had or at least Ali had a little bit of personality, won a bunch of things, and seemed just like a good guy. So I was real disappointed to find out all these allegations and that he had actually been banned from GG for a while. And
well, that's the thing is, do you remember I told you 15 months ago when we kicked the guy when the guy that started all the shit, ended up cheating in our game, and then the guy who exposed him told me about this RTA and all these top pros. He told me there was like 30 or 40 of them, and he named like 3 or 4 of the names. And again, I went to Daniel about it. I said, "What do you know about RTA? I've never heard of this, And then some of the very top people that you play in the Poker Go are implicated in this." And he says, "Oh, well, we're cracking down on it, and it's being taken care of now." Well, they did crack down on it at the time when I brought it up, but they. Like Alex Fox just said, well, we knew that Ali and Schindler and whatever else, Savarol, whoever else you name, were kicked off of GG. Are you really? You guys all knew this, but you didn't want to go public with it? You see, that's all I'm trying to say. You got people that are making tens of millions of dollars that people are watching Poker Go, and they're all looking up to these guys, and they want to be these, and these guys are all cheating. Not all of them, but you know what I'm saying, a few of them. And it's just a bad look for poker. And maybe they thought it was never going to come out, And I mean, I knew about it 15 months ago. I don't have a big enough voice. I'm not around it to have dropped the names that were dropped in the last week. But the names that were dropped in the last week were the names that were dropped to me 15 months ago. So it's definitely true, okay? It's just definitely true. So, because those were the names that were dropped to me 15 months ago. So, again, I think Daniel will do the right thing. He'll get a statement that'll be put out as far as by him and GG Poker, and they will. Now, remember, I'm not GG. They cracked down on these people. Should they have cracked down on them sooner? Where like Party Poker and PokerStars stopped people from using RTA a year and a half before GG did. Do I now remember GG was just a startup company, so you can't really, you can blame them, but you can also understand, it took them a while to get the software, what they needed to do to stop these people from using this stuff. And so they did take care of it. I think it should have been done a year and a half earlier. It would save people tens of millions of dollars. Like I heard one guy lost $60 million playing on GG, and Bryn Kenny was playing God knows how many accounts in that game, how many people were being ghosted, how much of the $60 million did the guy get cheated out of. You see what I'm saying? There needs to be accountability.
Yeah.
There needs to be we have proof these guys were playing in the same game. This was being done. They need to be outed for everything. And then GG needs to just be transparent. I think it'll happen. Should have already happened. And then we'll go from there. You know what I'm saying? But I don't, again, I'm not knocking Daniel. I hope that anybody thinks I'm going against Daniel or knocking him. I'm just saying, as the main man with GG, who knew about this for over a year, and there was like 7 months ago, somebody told me that Daniel knows all the names but doesn't want to go public. And I'm like, well, why doesn't he want to go public? And I was like, well, he's worried about it hurting the GG brand. But this hurts it way, way worse than if they would have came public a year ago. If he comes public a year ago, how does that hurt the GG brand? Hey, we cut down on these guys. We caught them cheating. They've been kicked off. These guys are bad people in the poker world. We're on top of it. And that would have been the end of it, right?
Yeah, and GG banning those 40 people and not releasing the names, I think that
60.
definitely
It was 60.
reflects poorly on GG.
Yeah, it was 60 people, by the way.
60 people.
Yeah. So, anyways, so that's my take on it. And I got to take some other calls, Charlie. I love you, buddy, and I hope you're still doing good playing.
All right. Talk to you later.
Man. Take care. Later. My man Charlie plays in my home game. If you guys want to play in my home game, $250 in chips, $250 for 200. Email mouthpoker@yahoo.com, mouthpoker@yahoo.com, and come play an hour a day with me. 1-2 PLO, 1-2 no limit. Welcome to the Mouthpiece. This is Mike. What's going on?
Mike, what's going on, man? This is Todd from Tampa.
Hey, what's going on, buddy? How's it going?
Good. So why didn't you play in the heads-up match?
So I was going to play, and I had a seat, and I just decided that at the last second that I'm doing really well. Well, I guess the main reason why was the day before I had to give them a yes or a no. I lost 15,000 in a live game. I didn't play well, and my brain was a little off. And I don't know if you listen to the podcast and know a lot about me, but I deal with a lot of mental illness where when my brain's off, I normally take days off, and I have to deal with taking a lot of medications because of my injury. And so a lot of times my brain chemistry ain't right. And that day I lost 15,000. I played terrible. So my brain chemistry wasn't right. So I didn't feel like putting up 25,000 playing against the best players in the world if I'm not 100% right. So that's why I didn't play.
Wow.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of courage to come out and say that, man.
Yeah.
I commend you.
Well,
But look, I want to say this, Mike. Good luck to you in the World Series.
Thank you,
man.
buddy.
I've always been a fan of you.
Thank
You're
you.
very transparent, and I can identify with that.
Yeah.
But I was looking at this video with this Martin kid.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm glad you're. Yeah. What's your opinion on this?
The first thing that after I watched it, I said to myself, this guy who was backed by Bryn Kenny did not have one good thing to say about that man.
Correct. Now,
What
why?
I know,
Why is
that's
that?
ulterior motives.
Correct.
He's got ulterior motives.
Correct.
So immediately, I don't want to listen to nothing he fucking has to say.
Correct.
I didn't want to, you know what I mean? I cut him off.
I said
Say
straight
one
out,
thing.
he was so all over the place. Yeah, he was high as fuck, okay? But when you're high, because I get high at nighttime because it helps with my pain.
Yeah.
When you're high,
Likewise,
you
likewise.
kind of you see through the box and you speak kind of what's on your mind, okay? And you speak, but this guy was all over the place. Like Doug would lead him with a question. He's like, well, let's talk. Doug would say, let's talk about this that you talked about. And then he would say, oh, yeah. And then Doug would say, you told me this happened. And then he would say, oh, yeah, I did say that. And then he would run a story
Right.
based on Doug's repeating the question. And when he did it, it was so all over the place that I'm telling you right now, half the things he was saying, I just don't believe. It just was so.
Well, Mike, if someone came to me about you and y'all had been friends for 4 or 5 years and you had backed him in high stakes and he couldn't say one thing good,
yeah.
you got ulterior motive. I cut you off. I don't want to listen to you. It's bullshit.
No, it definitely, I would have to say, listen, because this is kind of what happened with the guy who outed Scott 15 months ago. He was owed $104,000 and Scott stiffed him for it. And he told me, Mike, I'm a cheat. I fucking cheated here. I cheated there. I use RTA. I did all this on GG. I did it with all these people. I can name big names in poker that are cheating. He goes, I don't want sympathy. I just want Scott to go down for what he did for all the cheating he did. Okay, he admitted he's a cheat, right? Now, his ulterior motive was because Scott didn't pay him, right? So he's like, fuck you, you didn't pay me, I'm going to fucking destroy you. Well, obviously, Bren Kinney didn't pay this guy. We don't know how much. And so he decided he's going to go out and tell him all the things that Bren Kinney did, And there was a lot of things he said where you could tell that he was telling the truth. Okay, because and this is why I tweeted out, anybody who's a poker player that knows how to read for a living,
could read. I totally agreed with that.
You could read what the guy is talking about when he's telling the truth and when he's not. Just like I used to tell people all the time, when Trump talked, I knew every time he was telling the truth and every time he was lying. They have something called a duping delight, okay, where they start like the Martin guy. He'll talk, then he'll start to look down. He'll talk, he wouldn't look straight in the camera, his eyes go left. That's when you're being deceitful. And if you read the guy's book by the FBI agent on Book of Tells, he talks about duping delight and about when you. So you get a real good feel when the guy's telling the truth. There was a lot of things that guy was saying that were definitely lies. But as far as the staking goes, as far as the get in here because we had this overlay, dump chips, and I'll re-enter you. I mean, that makes a lot of sense when you're getting a big part of the rake and there's an overlay. And so,
Mike,
with
your history of playing online on full tilt and everything, have you ever cheated?
Never. Matter of fact,
never.
Matter of fact, when
you and a buddy were
never
at the same tournament.
We were one time playing 2-400 Omaha 8. He was playing on my regular computer. I was laying in bed in my laptop, and he raises me on the river, and I look at him. I go, "What you got, motherfucker?" And he'd be like,
"We've all done that."
But he goes to me. He goes, "Put in 400, and I'll tell you." But we never once looked at each other's cards or played when we were in the same room or did anything where I could have put my laptop right next to him. We could have looked at 8 cards and how they going to beat us. And people do that all the time. I tell people all the time, when you're playing Omaha, if in a 6 max PLO game, if you know 8 of the cards, you don't have to do anything but play ABC poke. You straightforward. How are they going to beat you when you can see 8 out of the 24 cards? You know what I'm saying? That's why when you hear Brent, they talk about Brent Kenny and he was multi-accounting in PLO games and these nosebleed PLO games, it doesn't matter. If you can look at 2 spots, they can't win. So it's why I've always been against high stakes poker online. It's just too easy to cheat. But nope. One thing I can never do is I can never, ever steal a quarter from anybody. This is me. I'm a very honorable person. I made mistakes in my life. I borrowed money that I paid back most of it, but I still owe a little bit. And it's I've made mistakes, but as far as cheating or stealing from anybody, I'd rather die.
Well, most people are fans of yours. We've watched you play live for years. We know you ain't got to cheat. You're Mike the Mouth, man.
No, I don't. Not only do I not got to cheat, I just wouldn't. I literally would rather be broke. I couldn't live with myself if I cheated anybody. I just couldn't. And the funny thing is, back in the day, I used to always think everyone was ethical like me. But, listen, most poker players are good, but, Phil gets really mad when I say this. But I said, Phil, you don't even play poker no more. You're a businessman. You play at the World Series. You play some Poker Go events. I said, poker players are scumbags. I'm like, they will do whatever it takes for the better of themselves. They will angle shoot you. They will fight to get that last seat in a good game. They will do whatever it takes to get into a private game. Okay, even if that means to discredit you, who's already in a private game, to better themselves. Okay, that's what they will do.
No one feels so well like you do. How was it so easy to get in his head? How did person just how was it so easy? That was easy.
How the guy got in Phil's head, you mean?
So easy.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, Phil told me after he lost, he called me and he said, all the things the guy did and everything. And he goes, but it's on me to let a rank amateur get under my skin like that. He goes, I should know better. He goes, I played like shit. He goes, and my ego was too big, and I let my ego get in my way of me. And so he admitted that he let the guy get the best of him. But what does he think an amateur is going to do playing Phil Hellmuth in round 1 of a head up? He's going to do whatever he can to get under his skin. See, back in the day when I used to talk a lot of shit, the people who came back at me and was trying to stick it back to me would get to me because I was an emotional person. And there was only like 2 people that ever did it because, everybody knew that even though I talked a lot of shit, it was never like when Phil would like berate people, whatever. It would be more jokingly and it was always with people I know, except for one guy. I think it was the 2007 main event. He kept talking shit and coming after me. I said, I'm going to bust you. I'm going to bust you. I'm going to bust you. Keep coming at me. I'm going to bust you. And he came at me with ace 7 of clubs, called the use re-raised, flopped the flush draw, put it all in, and I busted him. He had a flush draw with ace 7 against my aces. And as he was leaving, I was like, bye-bye. Bye-bye. Yeah. Have a nice day. Because he was like there was like 2 people, maybe 3 that really came at me. He was one of them. The rest of the guys that come at me were people I know. We always went back and forth. But there was one guy that really knew how to get under my skin, and it was lighting me up. And it was very hard to keep it together. And I remember saying to myself, damn, if everybody ever did that to me in a game, I'd be in trouble because I felt it. It was bothering me. You know what I'm saying? And Phil's a really emotional person, so he did not let up. And he was out of line, the guy. I mean, flipping him off. The people want to say, oh, Phil just got what he deserved. That's what he does to everybody else. Well, that's not true. Phil doesn't do that to everybody else. Phil plays poker, doesn't say a word. Now, if one of the people he knows, or even he does things to people he doesn't know, but he'll be like, if he doesn't know him, he'll be like, I'll get you, you amateur. You don't know who you're messing with. Keep messing with me, I'll get you, right? Or if it's somebody he knows, like Zeno or whatever, he'll say, Zeno, you're the worst. You play that hand so shitty. But Zeno knows him. They're good friends, right? People don't realize that. And some of the people don't realize, they think Phil's just talking down. How could he talk to that person like that? Well, Phil, they're friends. You know, but like I explained to Phil, too, is people that are watching this on the outside, they don't know that you guys are friends. So it looks like you're looking like an idiot to some guy who just wants to play poker. See, but Phil would never do what that guy did to him. And even I was talking to Maury, who's the producer, and he thought the guy was way out of line. So do most of the pros. But, you know, Daniel wanted to comment and say, Phil's been being like that to people for years and he couldn't take it. Yeah, Phil as a professional should have shut the fuck up, kept his head down, beat the guy, said, and after he beat him, say, well, thank you for fucking being an asshole. Have a nice fucking day. That's what he should have done. You know, instead, I mean, he really let him get under his head, and Phil played like dog shit. I mean, dog
so
shit.
what was Daniel's motive for chiming in?
What's that?
What was Daniel's motive for chiming in?
Well,
Tweeting
Daniel
that about
said,
Phil?
well, you treat people like shit for years, and now you can't take it from an amateur. Okay? Now,
Okay.
I mean, Daniel's giving Phil the ribbing, too, because that's what Daniel does. Yeah. That's what we do.
Yeah.
And then Phil blocked him. And so I was talking with Daniel, and I'm like, Phil just blocked you, dude. And he's all like, he did? He goes, oh, now it's World War III. He's going to block me. I'm going to get him. And then he went on there and just went fucking ape shit. Now, Phil unblocked him, by the way. But at the time, it was pretty funny because, you know, rightfully so. Like, listen, Phil, like one thing I agree with Elon Musk about, Twitter is war. When you get on Twitter, you're getting into the arena, and you got to be willing to go to war. And if you can't go to war and fight, then you shouldn't be on Twitter. So when you just
I don't want to deal with any bullshit on
Great
social
analogy.
media.
Phil, what'd you say? I didn't hear
I
you.
don't want to deal with any bullshit on social media.
There you go. There's Phil. He doesn't want to deal with bullshit on social media. But social media is a war zone, you know? That's the thing, is Phil always wants to look at everybody's comments. Where 90% of the people that make comments, they're trolls. They don't give a fuck. You know, who gives a fuck with a guy? Like, who cares what a guy with 7 followers, 30 followers, 60 followers said? Now you see a guy with 5,000 or more followers that chimes in, then you can fucking say something. Phil, you know, like, I didn't realize like that. So a couple people were talking shit about me commenting on, you know, that guy Martin, like if you read him, you could see like a bunch, like he was full of shit. And there were some really bad comments towards me. And then I look him up. One guy had 7 followers. Another guy had 24 followers. Like, give me a fucking break. I'm not even going to block him. Like, who gives a fuck, you know? So that's Phil's biggest problem. Anyways, we got to go. Got other people.
Hey, Mike. Hey, thanks for your time. Good luck this summer, man. I'll see you out there. Take care.
You got it, my man. Take care. All right, 702-329-0480. Give me a call. Anybody else want to talk about this cheating scandal? We will be more than happy to chime in.
We're calling some people back.
What's up, Mike?
Hey,
It's
man.
Donnie
Welcome to
from Colorado.
Mouthpiece. Who's this?
Donnie from Colorado.
What's up, Donnie? How you been, man?
Not bad at all. Just, you know, I wanted to call in about these cheating allegations and that.
Sure.
And I was just thinking to myself, I'm like, you know, you relate it to relationships that people have, girlfriends, husband, wife, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Usually things start to come out after the detective work's been done, right?
Right.
Where you see this, you see that, an email, a text. You're not usually just coming out of the woodworks unless you catch them red-handed, or in poker, for instance, someone makes fake chips or brings fake chips to a tournament or something where you get caught red-handed. I mean, for these guys to say this and there's any allegation, I mean, I can't confirm or deny the allegations personally, of course, but there's got to be some truth to it. I mean, there's relationships to protect. There's a lot to protect with these big names at that level. For it to come out like this, hot and heavy, it didn't just happen yesterday, right? I think this has been going on for, well,
yeah. It's been going on for 3 years, and they were banned 15 months ago approximately, and nothing came out. Now, I know that there's at least 4 or 5 other very, very top name players that are implicated on this that names have not been released yet. And I am not going to be the person to release them because it's not my duty. I tried to release these names a year and a half ago on my podcast. I reached out to Daniel about it, and he told me they were cracking down on the RTA, which they did. But the fact, like I said, that these people were kicked out over a year ago for all this, and nothing was public, is very bad. I just think, maybe, listen, people want to wash it under the rug. They're like, okay, they're off the thing. We know they cheated. We don't have nothing to worry about again. But if this would have been public,
what it does when no one says anything, it makes it, now in hindsight, makes it almost seem like cheating's somewhat acceptable,
right?
Because there was no action taken. So now it's like, wait a minute, where, on what platform am I safe?
Yeah, and again, it's I just don't see where, if these people, according to Daniel, it was 60, but all of them were not. They have no proof that we're guilty of major. But he does know who. Let's just say 10 of the 20 big name. I just think that if these people have all been outed, let's out 20 of let's act whatever big name player that hasn't been outed, and I know 3 or 4 of them. Let's out them, and let's move forward and make the game more secure and make sure this doesn't happen again. This is what I've been saying for years. I've been saying back even in the middle 2000s is online poker was originally designed for people to play $1, $2, $5 in the middle of the country that had no poker rooms to go to enjoy playing the game they love.
No,
it was never. I remember 2004, 2003. Phil Hellmuth says to me, "It's just a matter of time, Mike, before they're playing 100, 200 limit hold'em online." I said, "Phil, are you crazy?" I go, "You know how easy it is to be on the phone with 3, 4 people
Phil?
playing 100, 200 limit hold'em?" I go, people will cheat nonstop. That was 1, 200 limit. Now they're playing 2, 400, 500. Now they're playing 500, 1,000, no limit and limit. Again, I don't want to accuse people, but it's fucking easy to cheat if you want to cheat, okay? If I want to cheat and I was a pile of shit, okay, I could just get in the biggest games with 2 of my friends. We could sit 3 of us in a 6-handed PLO game, and guess what? We're going to win infinite money, okay?
And the sick part is, the sickest part about that is that you could carry that scheme on for months or years, because
if you're not greedy, and you could do it for fucking ever if you're not greedy. You know what I'm saying?
You're right.
Again, I don't think that what Phil Ivey did was cheating with the Baccarat thing. I don't think so at all. I think that he put down the rules. Hey, I want this. They obligated, and they did it. They didn't have to do it, okay? But
I totally agree.
There's a but, okay? Phil could have done this and picked up 300,000-400,000 for years. Nobody would have known anything. Greed
Right.
is a problem.
Right.
He's like,
That's
well,
true.
we don't know how long we're going to be able to do it. Let's go for as much as we can. 12 million.
He tried to pull off 10 million or something,
12
right?
million and 9 million, right? You're talking about numbers like that, and people, they're like, okay, he brings this girl in every time, he asks for all these things, something don't seem. See what I'm trying to say? But if he was betting, let's just say he was betting big, but mixing it up, so he was losing a little bit, winning a little bit, and he's picking up a couple hundred. Motherfucker would have made 100 million and maybe still be doing it. See what I'm saying?
Right.
And so this is where greed comes in, okay? And unfortunately, so many people will do anything for money. I mean, like I've been saying it for years. They fucking kill people at 7-Eleven for $40 fucking dollars. What do you think they'll do on a fucking unregulated internet poker game that they're playing 400 PLO, where people are winning or losing 50,000 a hand? I mean, come on, man.
So, you know what? So, I look at Brent Kenny, right? Mm-hmm. I know he's got some skill. I don't.
He's a
go too far with this,
great
right?
poker player. Okay.
So
I'll be honest with you. Again, this is what bothers me the most. I believe, okay, after Phil Ivey. Now Phil Ivey's finally on the comeback trail, and he struggled with a lot of substance abuse and other shit that took him down, but he's doing great now. And anybody that has a comeback story, a redemption story, and gets their life together and makes a comeback, I am big fans of. You know what I'm saying?
Likewise, totally. Yeah.
But beside Phil, I believe that Bryn Kenny is the best poker player all around that I've ever played with. And I mean, like, I never even knew he knew all the mixed games. And then I played mixed games with him last year, the year before. I said, when did you learn how to play Omaha? I didn't even know he was any good at all. I mean, I knew he was an unbelievable limit stud player and limit hold'em player, but I didn't know he knew all the split games and the draw games. This guy is like the most rounded player, I've ever played with. I think he's fantastic. So
that's kind of where I was headed with
right.
this. You see him on TV, and it's title after title for several years, and it's like, why?
Right. Well,
why would he do this?
Well, I'm gonna answer that question. Okay. Bryn Kenny gets $3-4 million together. Bryn Kenny goes broke. Bryn Kenny gets $4 or $5 million together. Bryn Kenny goes broke. Bryn Kenny gets $10 million together. Bryn Kenny goes broke. Bryn Kenny is a degen. He bets on everything and anything. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So when you're as good as he is,
that lifestyle, that.
Right. When you're as good as he is, but you have gambling leaks, there comes a point where, well, I could stake this guy, and all these big games, and I could do this, and this, and I could print all this money to support my lifestyle. Does that make sense?
And so when you have the 5, 10, and 20 and $50 million, $1 million becomes like 10 grand or something.
Correct.
To the average person, where you're just like, yeah, I'll bet fucking $50,000 a game on 4 games today, 8 games today, whatever.
Yeah. And so again, I like Bryn Kenny. I really do. I mean, to me, this really. I
always was not a fan like
I am.
Yours,
I was a big Bryn Kenny fan. Big Bryn Kenny fan. Uh-huh. And we've always gotten along. He's always been nice to me. But I also knew 3 years ago when Daniel said Bryn Kenny made $10 million in a month, something was wrong. I mean, you can't do that. You could be the best player in the world. There's too much variance in poker to do that.
That means I should be making $1 million a month then. I'm kidding, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. So, I felt something might have been wrong. Then I got proof that something was wrong 15 months ago. Then I found out now they were all kicked off. I remember Bryn Kenny had this sweet-ass deal with GG. He was making a fortune in Rake and all this stuff. I didn't know all this, okay?
No,
but when
he was
let go when all this happened 15 months ago. So, again, Daniel knew about Bryn Kenny, Ali, Schindler, Savarall, and there's 4 or 5 others I can name that have not been named yet, but they need to be named, okay? I mean, that I know of. There were 60 of them. how many other top players? You know what I'm saying? And
Sure.
and all I'm saying is this needs to be addressed. Okay, I am not blaming
Here's the thing.
anybody.
Yeah.
I just think that Gigi needs to make a statement, and they need to say these are the people that were relieved over a year ago. This is what was confiscated from them. This is what we have on them, and that's it. And then once it's addressed, we move forward. GG Poker moves forward, and we make sure it doesn't happen again. But
Right, but here's the issue I have with it, and you can kind of relate this to legalization of certain drugs and stuff, like decriminalization, and with prior to legalization with marijuana and psychedelics and stuff. I don't care what anybody does, but when you decriminalize something, it's not really legal and it's not really illegal, right? I'm just using this as an example. What they've done with this situation, there's no guidelines. It's like you take no action. People are still cheating, whether they've been banned or not, or are continuously playing other people that haven't been caught onto yet. It's like when something's decriminalized or there's no action taken legally, everybody just continues to do it, and then it becomes almost validated, where it's like, yeah, you can smoke pot anywhere you want. Yeah, you can eat mushrooms. Go ahead, whatever, and nobody cares. Which it just feels that way to me. Where like I've been cheated. I've had many accounts refunded for players being banned and cheated on different sites that I won't mention. But I've been playing for about 20 years, and I've been through the ringer with that shit. And I know I've been colluded many, many times. This isn't a sob story.
Yeah.
But my point is, there's never any action taken until the cat is entirely out of the bag. And
it's happened all the time, bro.
It's just crazy to me, because I love poker. I love the online aspect. I love everything about it. And it's just sad that most of us don't have the confidence that we're in a fair game. Yeah.
And listen, it's one thing somebody's talking about. Like, if you're playing mid-stakes games and shit, I mean, you really got nothing to worry about. You're playing 5, 10, 10, 20. But, again, when they put in the 6 max PLOs, I said to myself, I'm like, this is crazy. It's like, it's so easy for two of us to sit in the same game, and they couldn't win. If me and you sat in the same game in a 6 max PLO, 50-100 game, we're just going to print money. It doesn't matter.
I never even thought about that, Mike.
And so, again, I'm not saying I don't know anybody that has cheated and done that, but I'm guarantee you there's plenty that have, because they don't have to do anything but play ABC straightforward, and you just can't
virtually
win.
Cannot lose, right?
Yeah, you just can't win.
That's sick.
Yeah. So, I've always been against playing high stakes poker, real high online, because, again, I've had 2 losing months in 26 years playing live poker, but lost $4 million online.
Right.
That just doesn't add up. I mean, even if I played long hours and didn't play my best, and
I used to watch you play online back in the early 2000s, whenever that was. I used to crush it. When me and Prahlad Friedman were on Ultimate Bet playing 50, 100 no limit every day, we absolutely destroyed the game. I mean, then we would battle for 10 hours head up, because we were the two best. We were the two best, and we would just battle. And I mean, I remember some of the days Prahlad would go on tilt, and he would just auto ship 10,000, like raise. I 3-bet. He just 4-bet rips the fucking 6-4 off. I would have like kings, queen. I mean, he would just punt, right? But when he wasn't tilted, Prahlad was like the best. I mean, he was a battle of battles. I mean, me and him were really the two best in like 2003, 2004 online battling and stuff before we moved the games over to full tilt. At that time, it felt like it was a fair game, it seemed to me.
Yeah. Well,
in certain settings.
I just remember 2006. I'll never forget this. all these 21 and 22-year-old kids were walking in with bags and bags of cash. And I'm like, where do these people get all this money? They'd sit in a live game, and they were terrible, right? And then I find out that these guys, this guy, are three of the biggest winners online, and I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, how could these guys be three of the? These guys are terrible, right?
I totally agree, because
you have to ask yourself then, where were some of them getting the money? Again, I'm not going to accuse anybody, you know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying.
I know that's the problem.
I mean, that was the big joke that we used to talk about. Like, look at this online idiot. Right? That's what, and back in the days, that's what all the live pros used to say. Oh, look at this online idiot. Oh, another online idiot. Oh, seats open for the online idiots, right? And then
absolutely. And
then we used to always say, well, let's look back at the online idiots that became great players. You have Scott Seaver, you have Jason Mercier, you had Brian Rast. I remember Brian Rast first started playing. His name was Tassa Rast online. And I'm like, let's just follow this guy around. He's terrible, right? And he was.
Now he's just a crusher, huh?
I think he's one of the top 5 players, top 3 best players in the world. Okay.
Yeah,
but
he's pretty.
But I know how good he got. But I'm just trying to say.
Well, I get it.
There's very few people.
You could tell.
You could probably name, I don't know. Now there's a lot more, but 20 people that were great online, that started online, that became great live tournament and cash game players. There just isn't many, okay? And yes, online is different. Yes, online is more about math, GTO, whatever, where live is so much about live reads and seeing situations and stuff. But it's not that different to where your guy sits down, he's a complete idiot, and he's got bags of money, and they say he's top 3 online, players.
Yeah, you're not a fish out of water at a lot of tables.
When Paul Volpe was coming up, said talk about Lauren Roberts, if you're aware of it. It was proven Bryn ghosted her account through text messages that were shared. Okay. Well, yeah, I had a feeling the guy was telling the truth on that.
Yeah, I heard that recently, like within hours too.
Yeah.
So
back what we were just talking about. I lost my train of thought.
Volpe.
Volpe. So my brother says to me, this guy Paul Volpe's so good, he's going to be the next superstar, right? And Paul Volpe, my brother met him in his forum my brother used to have, and so he wanted me to meet Paul Volpe, so we got on the phone, we started talking, and blah, 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 and we became friends. And at the time, my brother said he's going to be one of the best ever. I kind of laughed. I said, he'll just be another online fucking washed up has-been. And as it turns out, Paul Volpe is 100% in the top 10 best all-around players in the world. I mean, even his mixed games have become great. I mean, I finished 10th or 11th in the 10K Omaha 8 that he won. I said Paul Volpe will win a bracelet in every game but Omaha 8 because he sucks at Omaha 8, and then he wins the bracelet in Omaha 8, right? So I kind of ate my words. Of course, the board did.
You want that 10K?
Of course, the board did come deuce 6. And I had 1, 2, 3, and got 80 million bets in when he had 1, 3, ace 3, queen, and rolled off the queen on the river. Queen on the river to fucking bury me, and he wins that pot, which crippled me, and then he won the tournament. So, but people get lucky, but. I always talk about that hand. I'm like, if you didn't hit that fucking queen on the river, I'd probably win this fucking tournament against you motherfucker. So
real quick, what's a guy like Rast? I mean, not to talk about his financials, but he's making millions a year playing those games.
He doesn't even play anymore. He's so rich. He was one of the very few people at the beginning of Bitcoin that said Bitcoin's the next best thing. He put all his money in Bitcoin, and he's worth infinite. He doesn't even play anymore. He plays very seldom. But the one thing Rast does now, which he didn't do before, is he used to play the nosebleed games at the Aria or the Bellagio during the series. And now he's got so much money that last year he decided to play all the tournaments. And he told me, I think I'm just going to play the tournaments during the World Series because they're challenging to me. So getting Brian Rast playing every day at the World Series in these 10Ks is really good. It's good for poker.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And I love Brian Rast. One of my favorite people in poker.
Yeah, I've met him. I don't know him on a personal level, but
great human being.
Just a really humble guy, you know.
Yeah. And so I'm looking forward to seeing
I wish you the best of luck. You want to win that 10K PLO8, right?
I want that one pretty bad. Well,
I fucking hope you get it, Mike. I'll be out in Vegas at some point. Hope to see you.
All right. Sounds good.
You know, I know you got other callers, and I don't want to keep the line up forever, but I wish you the best of luck, Mike. I'll see you in Vegas.
Thank you so much.
Hopefully.
Thanks for calling. Have a good one.
Man.
Later.
See you.
All right. 702-329-0480. Yo.
Hello.
Welcome to the Mouthpiece with Mike. What's up?
Hey, how you doing, man?
Good, man. Who's this?
This is Corey from Indiana.
Hey, Corey. How's it going, my friend? Thanks for calling the show. I appreciate it.
Pretty good. Pretty good. Appreciate you calling me back.
Yeah.
Well, first off, I'm working on getting the loophole that Texas and Ohio have as far as legal poker going.
Okay.
In Indiana. So I just kind of wanted to get a little more word out about that. Side note, dealers or players who chastise dealers and blame them for losing are the worst. Also wanted to just put that out there.
They are the worst.
So in reference to everything we're talking about right now, though, the I can't remember the gentleman's name, but the guy that was on Doug Polk's podcast the other day.
The Martin guy? Martin,
right.
Martin, yeah.
So just a general statement, totally a personal opinion, I guess, from just watching that. But I believe what he's saying is true for sure. But did you get kind of the same, maybe take things with a grain of salt because it's coming from not exactly the most trusted source?
I think a lot of the things he was saying, he was making up as it goes. But I don't think he was making up the part of how Brinkini acted when he wanted people in the games and what he did to get that rake and what he did with the multi. I believe that was all true. It just the things that came out of his mouth that were true, you knew about. I thought it was funny, like he wanted to throw the people under the bus that they like he would call the fuckheads or the jerk-offs. But then when Doug would ask him about the other guy, I don't want to name names. So it's like you want to name half the names, you don't want to name the other names, right? So like even somebody in my
it begs the question why.
Even somebody in my chat just now, they go, well, why don't I release like the 4 or 5 other top player names that I know about were outed on GG? Well, I don't know the whole story of what they did. I was told from a very credible source because all the people that have been outed were told to me 15 months ago. I knew he was telling the truth 15 months ago. He also brought up these other people, so I'm pretty sure they're true. But that's Daniel's job, okay? Daniel knows who was kicked off a year ago. Daniel knows the top players that had their money confiscated. And they need to do what is correct and outing these people, not me. See what I'm saying? And I know there might be a few people that might not be happy with it or whatever, but right now, if they just come forward and say, okay, this was done a year ago, these are the people that were kicked off GG for cheating, they did RTA, multi-accounting, blah, 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 blah. This money was confiscated for him. We felt like it was just going to be something we never had to worry about again as it comes forward and it's come to light of everything that has happened. They write out a statement, and then they implicate the people the top players, the people that people know. I mean, you don't need to implicate Joe Smith from Scarborough, fucking Texas. Who gives a fuck? But you do need to implicate the people who people know about, and it just needs to be addressed. That's all, and it will be. What I'm saying? I'm not trying to. Again, if anybody thinks I'm trying to knock Daniel for not saying this, I'm not, because he admitted, he said, I couldn't comment on other people's account. I feel that's kind of a easy way out. And I think with him being the face of GG Poker, they should put out a statement and implicating these people. And then we'll go from there, and we'll do the healing process, and we'll go from there.
What do you think about this idea proposed of a blacklist?
Well,
of some sort.
I did bring it up. I think that blacklist needs to start once it's implicated. From day one, it's implicated. In other words, you can't go back and blacklist these people in the past, because then you'd have to blacklist Bonomo and fucking Blez, all those people that multi-accounted back in the day and that have apologized, that have been pretty square since then. You know what I mean? So, and I believe in second chances. So I just think that going forward, it's put out in the public forums. Anyone caught using RTA, multi-accounting, or cheating will be lifetime banned from all internet and all live events. Okay? I believe the people involved in this scandal should get anywhere from a 1 year to 2 year ban from all poker, no more than 2, and then moving forward, they get a second chance. That's my opinion. You can use it with a grain of salt.
Keyword you said earlier, accountability, and there just needs to be more consequences, and not that there's a way to.
There needs to be accountability about what was done. That's all. Somebody wrote on there that I was going to drop a bunch of names, and I did have this guy that was going to come on the show today that was going to drop a bunch of names, and he pushed out at the last second because he didn't want to deal with the consequences of maybe how he's going to be attacked for doing it. And I apologize for that.
I'd hate to scare away any other whistleblowers from coming forward, but it takes some, I hate to use the word bravery, but courage to out people that were once your friends, for sure. But if there's more of a generalized opinion of accountability and ways that we can hold these people accountable and not just leave the whistleblower out there in the wind, I think that's a way we can move toward a more positive direction as a community.
Yeah,
right?
and like even Daniel told me yesterday, he's like, why are you having an anonymous person come on? That's not fair to the poker world. And I said, some people don't want to know who they are. And then he said, well, people are going to know my voice, and the implications on him are not worth it to him, he said. And so that's why
he has received, right?
Right. He had received death threats from a few people from a year and a half ago. And so he doesn't want to deal with it right now. So I'm going to let that go. And I'm going to let Daniel and Gigi make the statement. I think it's not my place and time.
For sure.
But there is of the 60 people, I mean, there's at least 30 that 100% are factually cheated. There was a lot of them that they took their money with pretty high suspicion. You see what I'm saying? But the ones that were kicked off that they had proof of that are named players should all be outed, and there should be that's their consequence for doing it. You know what I'm saying? Even if you don't give them a ban from here on out, their consequences, there needs to be accountability. And
the court of public opinion, if nothing else, they
and you can't just, again, there's a lot of things that guy said that I believe weren't true. So if I was a defense lawyer, right, like let's just say Bring Kenny comes on my show, right, and he wants to clear his name, his defense lawyer is going to say, he's going to take everything that Martin says and he's going to just chop. There was so much. Any defense lawyer would absolutely take everything that Martin said and pretty much destroy it all. You see what I'm saying? That's why I told people, I said there's a lot of things he's lying about. So you better, if you know how to read people for a living, you better see the things he's telling the truth, because it was pretty obvious the things he was telling the truth about and the things you could look at and say, this guy's fucking full of shit. I'm just trying to figure out how somebody who's 26 years old, that nobody's ever heard of, right? Him and all these people are getting, here's $300,000 bankroll. Do you know how much $300,000 is? Do you know how hard I've had to work the last 2-3 years to get myself over $300,000 together? Do you know how hard? You just think somebody's just throwing around, here's $300,000 to go play with. Everybody in my stable had $300,000. Sorry, I do not believe that. Okay? I don't believe that. I thought he was full of shit on that. Okay? It's just, listen, even when I've been staked many a times, and I was staked to play in the biggest games, they didn't give me $300,000. They said, here's $100,000, Mike. Go play this big game. You know, here's $50,000. Go play this. You know, people giving you $300,000. Oh, he's got a stable of 25 people, and they all got $300,000. Get the fuck out of here.
Right.
If he one thing about Bring Kenny, this thing I know, that motherfucker didn't give away money. Okay, he's not in there fucking giving. But then again, I mean, if you got some nobody, a bunch of nobodies colluding in a game, you know, that nobody will know about, maybe that's what you do. You grab people off the rail and you get them. I don't know. I just know that I've been staked in the biggest games in the world. I played nobody ever gave me $300,000 to be staked. And I'm telling you, the biggest games, okay? I think 200 somebody gave me once, you know? So that whole thing made no sense to me. There's so many things made no sense to me. So,
do you think, this is a slightly tangential question, but do you think there should be just an ethical policy of when there's any sort of equity swaps, when you're at the same live table with someone, they should be disclosed?
Well, me and Phil, whenever Phil had a piece of me, he told the whole table, I got half a mic.
Absolutely.
I got a third of mic.
Right.
I absolutely believe that anytime somebody has a piece of you in a game, the table should know. Absolutely. Like when Chad Powers got caught with the big cheating scandal at the beginning of COVID, right? They're like, oh, he was staking 5 people in the game and nobody knew about. Well, I knew it. I walked into the game. I was one of the people he was staking. I was playing for like 20%, 25%, right? And he told me how great this game is. They had all these suckers in the game. I get there, and there's me and 5 people I know. He's staking 5 people in the game, but nobody else knew about it. See what I'm saying? And what ends up happening is they had like WhatsApp or Telegram stream, and they were videotaping. Look how great this game is. This idiot just put 400,000 with 5-6 offsuit. This guy called with 2 deuces. Well, these are 2 people with horses. So they were doing what they were doing is they were trying to get people down there, the suckers in the game, to show all this fake action that was going on, and then his horses would be, and nobody knew they were his horses. So that in itself is, when you got 8 people in the game, 3 suckers, and 5 of them are good players in your horse and working for you, and they're working for 30%. You know, to me, that's pretty unethical. So, Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
I agree with you.
Absolutely.
All right, man. Got to go. Got to see
for
there's some other calls. It's getting late. I want to watch some basketball. Have a great night.
Nick, I appreciate you taking me. Shout out to the Poker Palace, Lafayette, Indiana. Soon to
All right.
come.
Shout out to the Poker Palace,
Thanks,
Lafayette, Indiana, my man. You got it. Take care.
Thanks, Mike.
Yep. So, anybody else want to call? We have how many more calls we got?
We got a couple more to call back.
All right. Yo, welcome to the Mouthpieces, Mike.
Oh.
Hey, how are you?
Please. Hey, good. How are you?
Good, man. What's your name?
Luis.
Luis.
Brazil guy.
Okay. Oh, it's Luis. What's up, buddy?
Yeah. What's up, man? How are you?
Good, man. I'm doing
talk
finishing
about,
touch. I've been doing a lot of touches today on our poker room that we're going to all be involved with. So, a lot of good news today. I'll talk to you about that later. So, what's going on, my man?
Okay, great. Not much. I was just gonna have you talk about some of the app stuff in addition to the online stuff you're talking about right now.
Okay, well, the app stuff. Okay, Luis on the phone has won $350,000 in our game the last 3 days. Oh, sorry, Luis. Didn't want to out you for that. It just happened to slip off my mind. You're on a pretty good run there, buddy.
Yeah, it's not a bad run.
Not a bad run. I mean, I'm a little disappointed you only won $218,000 in one day when the record was $225. I mean, I don't understand why you didn't go for the record there, buddy. Anyways,
I tried.
I know you did. Dude, you did good, man. You've been running good, playing good. It's good to see. So, what's your you have any take on this whole cheating thing?
Yeah, it's I don't know, pretty unfortunate to see. I think that there should be some sort of verification for players playing online. You have to, keep a camera on or.
Buddy, I've been saying this for fucking 17 years, since 05. I said, stop with the anonymity, and where is the online poker room opening up that, especially with the technology nowadays where you sit in front of your laptop and your face is the avatar. And basically you could talk like we're talking right now live to anybody in the game. So it becomes more of a live game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
and I think you should use your real name too. Like, you can have a screen name, but also, you should be able to click the screen name and see who is this person, where are they playing from, where do they live.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I've been saying this for years, man. And okay, so the app we play on, you're not going to get accountability, but we know everybody who plays on our game. So it's like, we don't have to worry about any cheating or any of that. But, I mean, you go to the other poker our games, and in the Poker Bro games, I mean, there's so much ghosting and cheating going on. It's a joke. I lost $54,000 in this playing Chinese Joker, and Ryan lost $106,000. We find out later we were getting cheated. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course.
So it sucks. You know what I'm saying? And that's just gonna keep going on. So when you play an unregulated site, a shitty fucking $20 app, I mean, you're just begging to get cheated. I mean, I don't understand. Like in one thing on King's Club, Mark's site is, they're really protective. They have, they look for, you could check out IP addresses, where we caught a guy who, in our game, my home game, who we were really good at too. We let this guy in a 1-2 game win $25,000. We didn't care how much he won. We just told him straight out, do not play anyone head up PLO, because the guy was really good and our players were really bad. And then we catch him playing on the PLO. We get really pissed off, and then we were going to give him one more chance, and then he beat a couple of the suckers in our game, and they start talking shit. Right, and the guys, and they were guys that played every day. They would lose $1,000 a week playing 1-2 every day, sometimes more. and he's winning, and he started talking shit. And a couple of the guys in our game that they said, a couple of the people who I'm very loyal to in our game, Charlie was one who just called in, said, this guy is talking so much shit. And I'm like, well, we don't need a guy winning all the money and talking shit to us. So we decide to tell him that he no longer can play. Then we find out like 3 months later, he re-signs up under somebody else's account. And we noticed that he seemed to be playing a lot like the other guy. We find he wins like 6,500. We go and look at the IP address. It was the same IP address of the guy we kicked out. And we told him straight out, we're confiscating your money and we're giving it back to the players. You know what I'm saying? Because in the rules, it says if we find anybody who's kicked out that restarts, we're able to seize the funds. Now, because I'm a nice guy, I said, you know what? The guy won it fair and square, even though he shouldn't have been playing. And I gave him 3,000 of the 6,500. I took the other 3,500 and gave it back to the players. I felt that was fair. I didn't want to be the jerk off that took it. Could I have took it all? Absolutely. And he admitted. Right. And first he tried to deny it. And we said, you could deny all you want. We have proof. You come clean or you get none of your money back. So finally he said, okay, I admit it. I'm a broke poker player. I needed to make money. The room was really soft, and I saw an opportunity, and I shouldn't have done it. And you guys have every right to take the money, and I apologize. He came clean like that, so I gave him the 3,000. You know what I'm saying? And by the way, that goes to show anybody out there wants to play in my 1-2 online room. Email mouthpoker@yahoo.com. We have really good games. $250 for 200. Mouthpoker@yahoo.com. So, in my home game, we have probably 5 to 8 people who play every day, sometimes more. And we don't allow people that are good players to play. If they're, the games are soft. When the best player in our room would be the worst player in our app game, that's our room. You know what I'm saying? Anybody who joins our room, if they couldn't make $2,000 a month playing poker, they $2,000 or $3,000, then they need to fucking give up poker. So just the way our room is. But
hey, sounds like I got a new room to join. This is nice.
When you were sitting there, when you jumped in Ryan's 3-6-12 the other day, and you I just needed to do an orbit, right? I thought that was pretty funny, And I saw you fucking the Queen 10 hand where you just ripped it for 6,500, and then you commented on it. You said, "What else can I do?" That's one of my favorite comments you make, dude. Whenever you fucking run a big bluff, or what was the hand you had the other day where you went all in, and you said before you went all in, you said, "I got no choice here." He goes, "I just got to play it like this," and then you moved all in with the nuts. And you got called, and I started laughing.
I was just like, I had the nuts.
But you're pretty balanced. You sit there and say, "I got no choice" with nothing, and then, but a lot of times, I know when you're telling the truth. Like there's been times where I'm talking to Ben on the phone, and then you still type in something like, "I got no choice here. I think Mike would move all in with this hand too." And you move all in. I said, "This motherfucker has it for sure." And then you get called and you'd have it. And I would just laugh, dude. But it's, I'm happy for you. I really like you a lot. So I'm happy you're on this nice little run. Even though you said you dusted 100 ball in the live game. Was at Rivers?
Yeah, it was close to 100.
Was the game good, or did you play good, or did you get drunk? Both. I have to ask that because when Louise ain't drunk, he's like the best player in our game when he's beside me. And when he's drunk, he's like the worst player in our game. So you have to be, the biggest problem with people in our game is they don't realize when Louise is playing good or Louise is drunk. And sometimes you'll say you're drunk, but it's pretty obvious that you're not, right? The lack of awareness is the reason why you've won all this money, and I'm happy for you. So Keep it up. Except don't
Thanks,
beat
Mike.
me. Don't beat me, man. But Sonny said something the other day, and he's 100% right. He's like, the game's been so sporadic this week. What's wrong with everybody? And and Ryan was in the game. I felt like saying, well, Ryan, if you'd let me and Ben play together at the same time, maybe we'd get 5, 6 going instead of like 3 or 4. I mean, we need bodies, you know? It's like it doesn't matter.
I'm playing right now.
What's
I'm
that?
playing right now, and it's four-handed. I'm playing as we speak.
Oh, you are? Who's in the
four-handed.
game? No, I got to go
It's
get it.
just me, Sonny, TJ, and Ryan.
Yeah, okay. So, like, and here's the thing, like, and I mean, again, I don't want to say anything about Ryan. I think Ryan's a great human being. I love what he's doing at Hustler Casino Live, but Ryan wants that game 4 or 5-handed. Ryan can play a lot more short-handed, and Ryan plays with no fear, and he'll always say, well, I need to protect Sonny. No, you don't give a fuck, because when it's 5-handed with Louis, with you and him and me and Sonny and TJ, I mean, it's not a good spot for them. You know what I'm saying? And we need to keep we got to get that game 8-9-handed every day, only because it's better for the longevity of the game, and it's and it keeps, and people like to play. And you know, when the game Sonny was upset last night when the game broke. You know, I know you were tired, you'd been playing all night or whatever, but you know, I said, Sonny, I'll play 4. I don't really want to. I said, you know, and he's like, you know, this sucks. I've been getting crushed, and the game keeps breaking. But I mean, we got to do whatever we can to, you know, to keep this game 7-8-handed every night. You know, so
Yeah. Well,
all right. Well, Louise, good luck.
After your podcast,
as soon as I get off this podcast, I'm gonna jump in there and fucking fuck your ass up, man. So
no, you're not. But good
man,
luck.
I can't. I punted 8,500 yesterday. I was so mad at how I punted this that for some reason I have to punt like between 8,000 and 10,000 a week. I mean, I wasn't punting for a long time, but now I sure have been punting lately. And after I punted that 8,500 yesterday, I put my head down and really played good and ended up winning like 1,500. But I mean, like you punted that 20,000 punt. Oh God! And I'm thinking, did you do that on purpose because you're winning so much, or were you just
Which one?
at the 7-8 into aces, whatever the fuck you 5-bet to 7-8?
Yeah.
It was the last hand you played. You were up a gazillion, and the last hand you played, you were like you 5-bet all in the 7-8 spades, and you're up against aces, and you said, "What can I do?" Your favorite line. What can I do? All right, man. I'll see you online in a little bit, man. Thanks for calling.
All right. I'll talk to you later, Mike.
Later.
Yep.
All right.
A couple more to get to.
All right. Let's get them in there, and I got. Let's get one more in there. It's been 2 hours, so. Luis, good guy. It's won $340,000 our game the last 3 days.
Hey.
Welcome to Mouthpiece. This is Mike.
Hey, what's up, Mike? It's Nick from Yuma. How you doing?
Good, Vic. How you doing, man? Thanks for calling the show. Nick. Yeah.
Yeah, no problem. First off, I want to shout out Michael Schultz, Derek Daddio, and Rich Newell in the chat.
Okay.
All right. So you say that I guess like you feel like you're not involved in those high stakes games enough to out people.
Mm-hmm.
But this Martin Zamani guy, I never heard of this fucking guy until I saw him on the podcast.
I've never seen him or heard of him in my life, ever. Now, I do talk to a couple of people that have heard of him, but I have never seen the guy in my life, never heard of the guy. But you got to remember, I'm out of the loop, right? Up until 2016, I didn't even know people played online poker anymore. I thought after Black Friday hit, there was no online poker in the next 5 years. I had no idea that people were even playing on Stars and all from the U.S. I had no idea, you know. They were using VPNs to play on account from it didn't even cross my mind to even think about that. You know what I mean? So I just don't.
When I hear you talk about it, you know what it sounds like to me? It sounds like that you don't want to upset people, and you're a nice guy, and you want to get along with everybody, but you can't have that.
Yeah.
Like,
well, it's not that I don't want to upset people, okay? I'm a very controversial figure. I don't give a fuck, and I say what's on my mind all the time, okay? When it comes to something as big as this cheating scandal, and if I was to say these names without 100% proof, okay, then I'm liable. You see what I'm trying to say? Where Daniel has the proof because he knows who was kicked off. So he could say them, and then everything's clear. Does that make sense to you? Do you understand what I'm saying?
It does make sense. It's like when you like, if you're trying to catch somebody, and like, unless you see it with your own eyes, you're not sure.
Like, yeah, the name Bryn Kenny, Ali, Sam Sorrell, and fucking Jake Schindler were dropped on me 15 months ago as being the biggest cheats on GG poker. Okay? Then they told me what they were doing. I then went to Daniel on this. I'm like, do you know anything about RTA? I'm like, some of the biggest people that you know have been credibly by somebody came to my attention, are cheating big time on. And then Daniel said, we have increasingly cut down on RTA and multi-accounting. And yes, it was bad for a while, but we are addressing it. And that was the last time I talked about it. I found out then 3 months ago that not 3 months ago, 3 months after I had told Daniel about that Daniel knew about these top players, the ones that were just mentioned, and didn't want to go public with it. And I was like, well, why doesn't he go public with it? Why are these guys allowed to play the Poker Go studio and play the high rollers? And all this has been confirmed. Like, even when Alex Foxton came out the other day, he goes, well, me and everybody in here knows that Ali and Schindler and whatever got kicked off GG for cheating, right? Really? So you guys all knew this, but nobody in the poker world knew about it? You see what I'm trying to say? It's like, why didn't these guys come forward? Why did this have to happen? Does that make sense?
It does, because like what you're saying right now, with the thing with Ali getting banned from GG, you would think, like, I watch everything on poker. I would have seen something about that. I never saw anything. And when I saw that, I was like,
yeah, it was crickets. And again, I don't want to take credit, or I don't want any credit. I don't give a fuck. I talked about that. I got to look up and quote what the podcast I talked about it. But it would have to be the end of December of 2020, because that's when the cheating guy, the people who were cheating in our game, got exposed, and the guy who exposed them told me about these guys cheating on GG. So my podcast, I talked about it. I said there's 3 or 4 top names that play in the Poker Go high rollers that have been implicated in a very high-tech cheating scandal with multi-accountings and using RTA. I brought that up in the podcast. I would say it would probably be the podcast of right after Christmas.
It was in January 2021.
The first week of January 2021. Yeah.
Those 3 names have not been
nowhere
exposed yet.
Nothing had been exposed until this week.
But when you say 3 names, top 3 names of the Poker Go, like, I'm thinking like Bonomo, Chidwick.
I mean,
I don't know.
I mean, right now you have Ali, Sam, and Schindler and Kenny have been outed. Again, I was told, like, that this implicates anywhere between 20 and 30 top players. There was 3 or 4 other names that was told to me that they say is 100%. I don't know this. Daniel knows it. Daniel knows who was kicked off of GG for doing this. So in respect to Daniel and the respect for GG, because, you know, Daniel has a lot of interest in GG and he gets paid very big by them. It's his job to have the management type out some kind of letter to the public and the poker world saying these are the guys, big name people that were kicked off. They need to be exposed, and that needs to be it. I'm itching at the bit. I'm itching at the bit to drop these names right now, but if I'm wrong, I don't want to say. I just don't want to say it without proof.
But
I mean,
know you're not wrong. You know you're not wrong. You know it 100%. But when you say you use that word, it's his job. You make it sound like it's his duty or obligation.
Well, yeah,
to
it
the
is.
poker community.
It is.
But how is it not yours? Also, you think your name doesn't carry merit in? Like,
it
in the
does,
community?
and
it
I
does, more
and
than
I
you think.
it does,
more
and
than you think.
Yeah, and I brought these names to light a year and a half ago. You understand what I'm saying? But I'm not the one that gets paid $5 million a year or whatever he gets paid from GG. I'm not the one that owns a big portion of GG and is the top voice of GG and is the number one voice in poker. It's his job because he knows the detail. I don't know the detail of what they were kicked off for, what they did. I mean, we know they use RTA. We know they multi-accounted, but he knows all the names, and it's his job to do that. And I'm sure that will come to light here within the next week. You understand what I'm saying? Okay. I mean, once those names come to light, then I will comment on them. I don't feel that without 100, Daniel has 100% proof. You see what I'm saying? I don't. Just like when people wanted me to destroy Postel when he came on my show. Well, they don't have proof that he's cheated. They feel like he did. I let him come on the show and run his mouth and hang himself, and you know, anybody with any kind of brain knows when he was telling the truth or when he was lying. That's not my job is to let a guy come on, tell his side. That's why I said if Bring Kenny wants to come on and tell his side of the story, he could come on. I will not ask him really hard questions because I will let him put his story out, what he thinks and he feels happened, and then the poker community could say he's telling the truth or he's lying, just like I did with Postel. That's it. And people want to think, they're like, you think Postel didn't cheat. You think Postel didn't cheat. Well, let me give you an idea. I never said that, okay? I have a very, very strong opinion of what Postel did, but I'll keep that opinion to myself if that gives you an idea of what my thought process is. Okay? Yeah, that's it.
That's fine, but you know what? Daniel represents GG. If he says anything bad about specific people, they're going to lose so much business. You can't put that on him.
Why?
Not necessarily.
Why? Why are they going to lose business? How are they going to lose business? If those people were kicked off.
If an ambassador of the
But they were kicked off over a year ago. Okay? They were kicked off. And he probably figured, okay, these guys, we've caught them. They've been accountable. We don't need to go public. Okay? But now that it's gone public, and again, I understand that. Daniel said he's not allowed to comment on certain people's account. I respect that. But now that it's gone public, the people on that list need to be exposed. That's it. You know, because people are going to ask for accountability. That people are going to say, we want to know, you know?
I'm sure that the extent of the cheating is a lot worse than we all will ever find out about.
Well, yeah, they're naming 3 or 4 people. I'm telling you, 60 were kicked off. 30 to 40 of them are well-known names that people know. And I mean, that's what I was told. I'm not saying I don't know that for true, you know, but I do know of 4 or 5 other top name players that are on that list that have not been put in the public eye. And if they're not put in the public eye in the next week on the next fucking podcast, I will put them out there, if that's a fair statement. I'll give Daniel and Gigi and the poker community enough time to do what they need to do, because it really isn't my spot. You know what I mean?
All right, that's fair.
Here's a fair statement. Go look at the 10 biggest winners on GG Poker over the last 3 years, and I guarantee you, I promise you, 8 of those 10 have cheated. That's all you need to know. Let you do that. I'll let you do your own homework. All right, man. Got to go. Have a great weekend.
All right.
See you on Monday. See you next week.
Mike.
Later.
We do have one more if you want to take it.
I'm pretty beat. I want to watch some basketball. I was going to talk about basketball a little bit. Boston. I don't know if you guys follow me on Twitter. I told you it's going to win the East. I'm sticking with it. Their defense is suffocating. The people who really thought the Nets had a chance was a joke. I mean, they opened the Nets $1.30. They bet Boston to $1.60. I mean, Boston should have been over 2-1 favorite in this game series. They have a home field advantage. They played together all year. I mean, Kyrie played like hardly any games. Like Kyrie said it yesterday. Teams that are peaking are winning because they played together all year. I mean, and people will say, well, Kyrie could have played. He didn't want to get vaccinated. Well, fuck you. Fuck your fucking communist bullshit in a free country. The guy doesn't want to put a vaccine in his arm where 25-year-old athletes are dropping dead all around the fucking world that are perfectly healthy when he has basically zero chance of dying if he gets COVID. Where's my body, my choice? That's all I hear from the left. My body, my choice. I want an abortion. My body, my choice. It's my medical. It's my body. Oh, wait a minute. Ain't your body now. Get your fucking ass vaccinated or you can't come into my club. You can't get on an airplane. You can't play home games in Brooklyn Arena. Who the fuck are these people? So I am not a Kyrie Irving fan. I think he's a douchebag. But on this subject, I 100% fucking back Kyrie Irving. Next week is my birthday, next Saturday.
Fuck yeah.
We are going to do a birthday podcast next Saturday.
I will be out of town.
You'll be out of town?
But we can do it remotely if we need to.
Fuck you. When are you going to be back?
Tuesday.
Motherfucker, you're not going to be in town for my birthday?
I feel really bad about that.
You motherfucker.
I didn't plan it that way.
When you leaving?
Like Thursday.
Oh, fuck you, man.
I'm sorry, man.
All right. Well, we'll do a podcast maybe next Wednesday.
We can do Wednesday.
Because let's see what comes out here in the next week about this. See what's going on in the NBA playoffs. See if somehow the Vegas Golden Knights can win the last 4, including beating Dallas in straight up. They cannot. They must. If the Golden Knights win the last 4 and beat Dallas in regulation, they are in the playoffs. So they can't sit there and bullshit. Well, we need help to get in. We got to do what we can. Well, guess what? You no longer need help to get in with Dallas losing 2 days ago. All you have to do is win your last 4 and beat Dallas in regulation, and you're in the playoffs no matter what Dallas does the other 3 games or the other 2 games. So have a nice day. It's all on you, Vegas. Nobody else. You want to be in the playoffs? Win your last 4 and shut the fuck up. And don't tell me about all the injuries you had all year. Good show, everybody. Thanks for all the call-ins. Next week's my birthday. Danny won't be here. So it'll be the following week. Texas is still on the horizon. I will be moving to Austin, Texas after the World Series. I'm still waiting to finalize all my involvement with 52 Social. But it's going to be big for me and for poker in Texas. I'll see you all in about 10 or 12 days for the next episode of The Mouthpiece. Take care.
The Mouthpiece.